St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. Start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
5 on a bag on the 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Groups of 5. 5.
Really building a culture of brotherhood, just doing everything for your man. And if it's hard to run, you run harder. That's our motto this year. We just got to keep running harder every single play and keep getting better and keep working.
That's good. That's better. My fault, Ty. We all make mistakes.
Came out of the first week with no injuries and stuff. Last year, we played a JV game on Monday. We didn't do that this year, so that helped us out a lot with a lot of preparation. We were able to do a full practice yesterday, but a little bit just learning from last year. We learned some, how to, keep bodies fresh for a Thursday game after a Friday.
Hit here, come back inside. There's your 2 reps, next guy's up.
8 new guys on defense this year, and they really flew around. We have a lot of young guys in, and they played like varsity football players on defense, I thought. On offense, we're replacing 7 guys as starters, and we have all new skill players. And I think that showed a little bit in our game on Friday. We'll get the offense together, but the offensive line I thought did a great job. They've been working, all camp, and that's the group that came back. So now hopefully, everyone else can pick it up too, and hopefully those offensive line push everyone else to keep working hard.
Hey, low, get your head down. Get your head down. Get your head down. Head below your hands. Good base. One more time through. Keep a good base. Keep a good base. Hands above your head. Hands above your head.
Jason Hess and Douglas Scott, they've been phenomenal on the offensive line. And on defensive line, a guy that decided to come back out for the team this year, Levante Bowie, playing our nose guard. He's playing phenomenal. And then 2 young guys that came in, Anthony Hunsiger and Elijah Soler, played phenomenal at linebacker. And, we asked Adam asked us, Adam Reinhardt, our quarterback, asked us to move from receiver to quarterback. And he's really transitioned to be a leader. He's given his best effort. So, he'll come along for him. It's a tough offense to run, and, your first year running quarterback if you never really played quarterback before. But he's working at it.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts. St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. Start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
Thursday is our last day of school this week, and that's one of the rationales for it was, let's not, you finally get the kids into a schedule. Let's try to keep them on that Friday schedule.
Your thoughts of your matchup against Catasauqua?
Challenges, when we'll see Navy triple option one time during the regular season, and this is it. So that's the biggest concern we have. And we prepared for it. We look at it during the summertime as much as we can before we got to the Wilson week to just get reps so our kids are familiar with it. So that's obviously a challenge. And I'm impressed by their defensive line, their offensive line. That I know their coach said that's their strength, and that looks to be. So they have some kids up front. But, it's one of those things we want to get better. Our focus is on just let's get our guys better this week.
Talk about your guys and what guys have to play well on Thursday to pull out a win.
Well, it's team. That's we're getting the guys. They played as a team last Friday, and we expect that same thing. We were very impressed. I thought we had guys up front that had good games. Josh Schaefer in the middle at defensive tackle was excellent. Bryce Dye, we didn't have him for a scrimmage. Bryce is a 3-year starter, and he was back last week for Wilson. He had a slight ankle sprain, and we were just being precautious with him. He had 13 tackles. He had a very, very good game, led us in tackles.
How important is it for you guys to get off the bat and go 2-0, knowing that you have then a long week?
Yeah, it's you focus on, you always say one game at a time, but we just talked about, this is year 14, and what I'm starting to learn too is appreciate it. And man, it's nice to be 1-0. It really is, because you put in all that time going back to spring ball, your summer practices, and it does. It's nice to get off to that good. You see the kids see it. first week of school. It's good to see our kids in the high school are excited. They're great. They support our guys. So it really does. It makes a difference. And then if you could add on to that, you get that second win. You know, we always talk. Our goal as the year goes on, we want the next game to be more important.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
So you're hurting. Is it your back or your knee? That old football injury? Get the rehabilitation you need. In most cases, you won't need a script from your doctor. In Pennsylvania and New Jersey, a law called Direct Access lets you see a physical therapist without a prescription. And if your insurance requires a prescription, physical therapy at St. Luke's will work with your doctor to get you the care you need that is covered. Let us speed up your recovery. We're in your neighborhood. Call Physical Therapy at St. Luke's.
I'm ready.
Hi and welcome everyone. Aldo Carlo alongside Matt Evancho. Glad you could join us here in Slatington for the D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Aldo Carlo with Matt Evancho. As mentioned, we're excited to be here in Slatington. A great matchup we expect between the Northern Lehigh Bulldogs and the Catasauqua Rough Riders. Catasauqua checking in with a record of 0-1. Northern Lehigh coming in with a record of 1-0. And Matt, as you look at this matchup, interesting because as they take the field, it's a Thursday night. So Thursday night football, who's not excited about having football even earlier?
It's exactly right. I think both coaches spoke about that and how the kids, they really just took it as a normal week, which is great for them. It's a shorter week to prepare, but they took it as a normal week and they're ready to go here Thursday night.
When we look at these teams and talk to both coaches as well, Mike McLaren doing a great job in his second year as the head coach of this Catasauqua Rough Rider team. He brings something different to the table, something that we don't usually see when it comes to the offense.
He does. They bring that triple option out, which you have a chance to see at home. But I like the one thing he did speak about how as a coaching staff in year 2, they decided to take a step back a little bit and focus a lot more on the little things, the little details that go into that offense. And I think when you see that, that's going to make big gains for them this year.
Well, on the other side for head coach Joe Tout, now in his 14th season, coming off that big victory, the short week, but also excited of what his team can bring to the table, both offensively and defensively, but they will be running a lot tonight.
Exactly, but I have to talk about his defense. He spoke very highly of his defense and the effort they put together against Wilson last week, holding Wilson to 10 points, which is a very good quality Wilson team, and Coach Tout was very excited about what his defense could do. He said it was a little reminiscent of some Northern Lehigh teams from the past.
We mentioned this last week when we did Pocono Mountain West and Easton. Is our inaugural season, D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Obviously an opportunity to visit a number of schools, not only in the Lehigh Valley, but a little further down the road as well. Next week on the Saturday, we will see North Schuylkill and Wyomissing, and then down the road we'll see Lehigh and Panther Valley. We'll also see Whitehall, Liberty, Wilson, and Notre Dame. So a number of games coming your way. This is just one of a bunch coming your way. So we're excited here at D11Sports.com without question.
It is, absolutely, and I think the Thursday night appeal is great.
With that, we'll pause and honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Rosario, student reporter for D11Sports.com. Tonight I had the chance to talk to both coaches. Northern Lehigh Coach Tout is excited by last week's game. He thinks that defense will come out strong again to win this one. And New Jersey's have the players pumped for this game. This is Catasauqua's first away game, lots of new players to see. Coach McLaren has faith in his defense as well, so it's going to be an intense game. Back to you.
All right, Ava, thanks a lot. Ava Rosario, senior here at Northern Lehigh High School, taking a part in our broadcast as our sideline reporter, as we do each and every week. We had Joey Draper from Emmaus last week as we got things underway, and Ava will be on the sidelines tonight for this matchup between Northern Lehigh and Catasauqua. Should be an interesting matchup between these two teams without question, and both teams are at midfield as we get ready to see who's going to take it, and it will be the Bulldogs that will receive first, and that's an opportunity for them to do it as well. So great, glad you could join us here on D11Sports.com and the Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. As always, proud to be joined by Matt Evancho. Dave Micah sitting next to him, doing what he does best, talking and interacting with our fan base. Any questions you have, just go through Dave and we'll go from there. And Matt, obviously setting the tone early will be something big, especially, you're on offense first for Northern Lehigh. You want to kind of continue what you did last week.
They do, and Coach Tal had a good point. You know, you talk about these programs that have a lot of history, and it's really difficult for those teams, you know, to break away from that history a little bit and try to do something new and try to do something different. It's pretty awesome to see Northern Lehigh in these gray helmets, these black jerseys. It's something new for what they're going to do. The kids were excited about it. With all the social media, it's out there. You know, they came in, they saw them in the locker room, he said, and they were Snapchatting it out. But it is going to be important for this offense to get going and get rolling and get them off to a great start.
Yeah, at the same time, Mike McLaren, you know, he saw the positives, but, you know, when you're kicking off first, you want to continue to see those positives despite, you know, losing the opening week 34-6 to Bangor, and Joe Tout lost to Wilson by a score of 14-10. Northern Lehigh victorious by a score of 14-10 in come-from-behind fashion. So we get ready for the opening kickoff between these two teams and Adam Reinhardt. So there is an Adam Reinhardt and there's a Riley Reinhardt. So we'll be getting ourselves all together. So this is Adam Reinhardt, who's also the quarterback of the football team, ready to kick off here from Slatington, our D11sports.com game of the week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine, as it's still a little sunny for the next 10 minutes or so. And we are underway from Slatington, a little poach kick. And this one is picked up right around the 33-yard line. And good field position to start things off after the carry by Chase Massara. And with that, we bring in our starting lineup for the Northern Lehigh Bulldogs. And obviously for, you know, the Bulldogs, and you see what they're capable of doing, you know, obviously they're going to run a lot. You know, Matt Frame last week, he's not starting, but at the same time, you look at Repshire and Wanamaker, they'll get the reps, but at the same time, Matt Frame last week was 4 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, Levante Bowie, the nose guard, should be a big part of what happens defensively for them.
Exactly right. And, you know, Coach McLaren spoke about how his strength of his team right now is that defense, and he's going to have to rely on them right here off the bat.
So to start things off from their own 44-yard line and back to throw. And that one incomplete. Moyer was looking in the direction of Mike Repshire, so everyone continues to talk about run, 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 and they go with the pass. Not a surprise from a 14th-year veteran head coach.
Yeah, one of two, the most tenured coach in the Colonial League, as in Joe Tout. You know, trying to mix it up a little bit, went in a shotgun set, play action, lets his left-handed quarterback roll to his left and finds a lot of open space, just misses his receiver downfield.
So second down and 10.
On second and 10, here's a run for 3 yards.
And Moyer kept that one the whole time, and Moyer never stopping. Talking about the decoy, that decoy goes for positive yards all the way across the 40. They'll actually mark it right on the 40-yard line. So you're going to see a lot of that tonight.
You will, and you'll see it on both sides, that option play. So that time they fake to the fullback, Moyer pulls it, and the defensive end from Catasauqua played it perfectly, hits the quarterback, but then doesn't expect him to have the ball, lets him go, and Moyer does the rest to get that big gain.
So they were on the 44, their own 44. They're all of a sudden just like that. Down to the Catasauqua 40-yard line, just underway, about 40 seconds into this contest. Northern Lehigh from the 40. Moyer, again out of the gun, now rolls, going to look to throw, and he fires in right into the hands of Repshire, and Repshire still continuing downfield to about the 25-yard line. So when I talked to Joe Tout at the beginning of the week, he said to me, you know, Mike Repshire has to do his thing, and you're seeing it here early on.
You are. That's the second time they go to him to open up the play. Same as their opening play, just that play action off of that. Let him run to his left side to his strength, and he finds Repshire with a great pass.
Just doing a great job with those fakes and really kind of making that Catasauqua defense overcommit.
So a solid first drive here by the Bulldogs. The ball sitting at the 26-yard line. Moyer tosses it far side, and the reception is made into the hands of Evan Zambo. And Zambo picks up about 7.5, maybe a little bit more than that.
Moyer takes a snap, just gets it out to his outside receiver real fast and lets his guys block downfield in a 3-receiver set. He just cuts in underneath them.
The pickup indeed of 8, second down and 2. The ball sits at the 17. 2 minutes into the contest, they'll toss, and nowhere to go. He gets pounded, and a great job defensively by Elijah Solar. Solar only a sophomore and got in there quick for the Rough Riders.
Solar finds that hole, just fits right in from his linebacker position. Coach McLaren spoke highly of the freshmen and sophomores that he has playing both defense and offense. Had to replace a lot on offense, but them also getting an opportunity to play a lot of defense. He's going to have to rely on that youth.
But did get the 2 yards despite the hit by Solar. So first down and 10, 4 new downs here. The ball sits at the 15-yard line. Moyer active here in the early going. That one's intercepted. Picked off by Riley Reinhardt. So the first mistake happens right there as Riley Reinhardt comes up with the big INT.
Coach Tout spoke about his keys of the game being eliminating turnovers. Here you see a good look at Reinhardt seeing the ball before the receiver gets there, beats him to the punch, gets the ball, narrowly escapes the tackle, but gets the interception for Catasauqua.
So that comes at the 9:37 mark. After just driving easily downfield, they come up with the INT. So first down and 10. Again, you'll see a lot of deception here. And bouncing off the defense was Anthony Hunsiger, the freshman.
The one thing Catasauqua offense can't have happen in this Navy triple option is any kind of penetration from the defensive line. If they push the blockers into the backfield, that's going to throw off the timing and throw off the angles for these running backs.
I'll take a look at the starting lineup here as we bring him in. And obviously, Reinhardt at quarterback. He was a wide receiver last year, and now, he's your quarterback. Bryce Dye had 12, 13 tackles in the first game. He's an integral part of that defense. So, again, you're going to see a lot of guys shifting their way, and, Jacob Shire is going to be a key member as well. Our first whistle. Mike Matejka is our referee. Our umpire is Tom Halsinek. Linesman is Mike Agelstein. Line judge is Jack Fleming. And Rodney Stroll is our back judge. Glad you could join us here for our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. 8:52 and counting, opening quarter, no score. Northern Lehigh had the ball started at the 43, drove all the way down to the 10-yard line before the interception by Riley Reinhardt to stall the drive.
And for Catasauqua right now, all you need to do is just get some yards, get some space, get them out of here, get them out of the deep in their own territory, just to give them a chance to turn the field position around.
Third down. As they try to punch that forward, and I try to get my voice back right away.
And I think you're going to see a lot of that out of Catasauqua, especially deep in their own territory. You don't want to take a lot of chances right now. Just early in the game, you just had a huge momentum turn. You got the turnover. Hold on to the ball. Maybe just concede it, punt it out on fourth down, get your defense back on there and tighten that up.
Yeah, it's coming.
So it'll be a third down and 11. The ball sits at the 6-yard line. Yes, you are pinned, but at the same time, as we mentioned, you still did not force the ball to go that way. And that one given to Jakeem Jourdain, and Jourdain just drives his way forward and cuts across the 10-yard line. They'll mark it right in that range. And Catasauqua will bring the punting unit back, but again, they avoided the touchdown early on. Now they're going to have to, get a good punt away. But at the same time, the defense, and Mike McLaren continues to talk about the defense and how strong it's been.
They did, and the defense did the job. Offense is going to come a little bit slower, as we talked about, with 8 new players on offense, 2 of them switching positions. So they have a lot to get back on.
That one goes right over Adam Reinhardt's head, and with it, it's a safety. So a 2-0 game here in the bottom of the second inning.
And that's a tough one because, you look at Adam Reinhardt, 6'3", and the snap going over his head, just over his fingertips, giving up 2 points.
So Adam Reinhardt, that was just, I'm going to say Andre Giant-like. That was well over his, trying to get that, and he's a tall guy as well. Reinhardt's at 6'3", so you can see how high that went for him. So with that, everything going positive there for Catasauqua, and now they're down by a score of 2-0.
And it's only 2-0. I mean, it's still not that big. You can easily come back from that. You have to go and put the trust back in your defense now to come up with some sort of play.
defensively, they stepped up. Punt snap, and now it's
Matt, a year ago, a big difference. This was all in favor of Northern Lehigh. They rushed for over 350 yards. And, Catasauqua under their first-year head coach at that time. And, obviously things started to change. But you could see, and I was at practice this week for both teams, but you could see also at Catasauqua, what Mike McLaren is trying to do and trying to instill with that program.
He is, and he spoke about that a little bit. One of the things he said about this team, there's not many players that count about 30 on the roster, but he said each one of them knows they matter. Each one of them is part of the brotherhood of Catasauqua football, and he's trying to get them to believe in that. And he said they're taking those steps, and they have started to believe in that.
Repture grabbed it at the 47 and gets across the 40 and inside the 35-yard line, depending on where they spot this one. So a great field position here for the Bulldogs from Northern Lehigh.
The defense for Catasauqua has to come on the field here. They can't hang their heads. Yeah, they're in a tough situation. They're in a tough spot, but they have to continue to just sink in, do their responsibility, and make tackles.
It's going to be good for them. And then both teams looking to start fast. Weren't able to really do that. It's still really that first quarter, still in that margin. But right now, Catasauqua, even after this,
The ball at the 31-yard line. And they go right to the ground, and some space by Joe Abadelli. Abadelli's second carry of the game, the 5'11", 165-pound junior. Again, you get 3, 4, 5 yards in each carry. You're doing the job. And, when I talked to Joe Tout, he said to me, we don't have that one guy. We've got 6, and he wants to use all 6 tonight.
He does, and I think they're going to see a lot of the run tonight for Catasauqua's defense. Having that 3-man front, they're just going to let their linemen double team as much as they can on those down linemen and let the running backs find the space to run through.
Oh, one of those running backs has been Repture. Repture's been pretty active today at 8 inches closer to that first down marker. Third down and short coming up.
And you're getting a good look at that classic Northern Lehigh style offense, just putting 2 tight ends on the field, 3 running backs in the backfield, tossing the ball to the running back. Quarterback becomes a lead blocker as well, so you get an extra blocker in front of the running back.
Third down and a long one. And Moyer does give that one up. And a great job just powering through the defense was Matt Frame. We mentioned Frame last week, 4 carries over 90 yards. And you see what he brings. And Joe Tout, has talked so highly of Frame.
Correct, and as a sophomore, 5'11", 190 pounds, does a nice job. He had a 72-yard run against Wilson last week, so for a bigger fullback-style running back, still has a lot of speed as well.
From the 14, and Repture gets away from the defense. It gets down to about the 10. Again, another 3.5 yards for pickup.
Defensive back Stephen Schwab for Catasauqua, 22, had a hand on him, just couldn't grab enough of his jersey to bring him down.
5:50 on the clock. 2-0 Bulldogs if you're just joining us here for the D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Matt Evancho, Ava Rosario, a senior from Northern Lehigh on the sidelines. Dave Micah doing his social network thing. If you have any questions, pop up. You're watching us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. He's all over the place right now. I would say Dave's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. You know what Dave wants right now? All Dave wants is my voice to go so he can hop in on the mic.
I know David mentioned earlier about how, once we heard they were serving Chick-fil-A sandwiches down there, some food, he said our allowance from you is only $2. That's not enough to buy a sandwich.
It's not?
No.
Oh, see, I'm still in the Stone Age. I'm an 80s guy, Second down and 2, the ball at the 6. A long count. Moyer gives that one up and then popping through the defense, still on his feet, pushing forward, in for 6 yards is Joe Abadelli. So 6-yard touchdown by Abadelli to make it 8-0.
And Joe Abadelli does a lot of that on his own. He gets some nice blocking up front, but then it breaks through 1, 2, 3 tackles to push his way into the end zone. And for Northern Lehigh and Coach Tout, you can't be happier than what you have right now. Other than an interception on your first drive, you have to be happy about how your team's capitalizing on these.
Extra point is up, and it is good by Brett Macera. And with 5:11 on the clock, it's 9-0 in favor of the Bulldogs.
And on this Thursday night game out at Northern Lehigh, that's the start they wanted. They know last week versus Wilson, they kind of had a slow start, weren't able to get some things going until late in the game, and then they were able to pull that out. They wanted a fast start tonight, and they certainly got that right now.
I like this move here. Sneaks through there.
So 5:11 on the clock, a 9-0 lead, and this really becomes your first real possession if you're Catasauqua. You stalled them, but all of a sudden the ball got down, and a little bit different for them.
It is, and you have to get something going here. Coach McLaren talked about how he wants to establish the run game, especially in this Navy triple option. They can't afford to fall behind and have to go to the pass game. Although they do have the athletes to make that happen, they want to try to establish that run game and just wear down your opponent.
Macera sends this one up right around the 15 or so, and is picked up there by Riley Reinhardt. And Reinhardt almost broke that one. He got up towards the 40-yard line, so a good solid run by the senior.
It is a good return. He had a nice seam open up, but credit Northern Lehigh and their kick coverage team just closing that down on him to get the tackle, not giving him any more yardage than he had. If you're the Catasauqua offense, you just have to take your time, be patient, and let your offense come and get into a groove early.
Here's Jacob Shire. Shire's first carry, and he gets up towards the 48-yard line.
They take the tight end, put him over on an unbalanced set towards the Northern Lehigh sideline, and then they bring the motion from the halfback, hand it off to him. He gets to the perimeter with some nice blocking from the help from his tight end, his offensive tackle, and his fullback.
So 4:30 and counting, opening quarter, 9-0 your score. If you're just joining us here for the D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Pickup of 9. And on the ground they go to Jourdain. Nowhere to go. He turns 3 or 4 times and now powers forward and pushes enough for the first down. When I talked to Coach McLaren earlier today, he said, well, one guy that we didn't talk about was Jakeem Jourdain, but you should see a lot more of him tonight. And we see runs like that, even though it didn't go that much, but he never gave up.
He didn't. And, you look at his size. He's at 5'6", 120 pounds, and he was in there against 3-4 guys pushing his way forward to gain that extra yardage for that first down. And also credit Adam Reinhardt. After he saw that his teammate was in trouble, he stuck his nose in there and helped get some blocks to give him some extra space.
So first down and 10, the ball sits at Northern Lehigh's 49-yard line. And again is Jourdain, and Jourdain pushes forward for another 12 yards. Oh, that gives you a different dimension, does it not?
It does, and he just finds a seam. It doesn't have to be real big. He just finds a seam, finds his way through there, pushes left, right, cuts quickly off those feet, gets a nice yards, following the block from his line. Coach McLaren said that is the strength of this offense right now is their offensive line, and they're going to need to rely on them tonight.
3:29, clock rolling here in the opening quarter. Bulldogs get a safety and a high snap in the end zone that went over Adam Reinhardt's head with 7:39. The clock made it 2-0, and then a 6-yard touchdown score by Joe Abadelli at the 5:11 mark, and that's where we stand right now, 9-0. It's a great drive here for Catasauqua. First down 10, the ball 38. And this time they change things up and they go to Elijah Solar. Solar, though, met in the middle, maybe gains a couple yards, but not much there for him.
And it seems like so far in his drive, they're doing this all without their top running back, Riley Reinhardt, who just checks back into the game. But credit Solar, credit Jourdain, and the other offensive players for Catasauqua working on establishing the run, following their offensive line, grinding out the ground game, which will eventually open up the pass game for Catasauqua.
You know, those keys to the game, you know, Catasauqua established a run game, which we're starting to see now, and play with relentless effort on defense. He doesn't want them to stop. Northern Lehigh improve that red zone offense and limit the turnovers. Adam Reinhardt was at 1 for 11 throwing last week, and he's going to look to throw here. He scrambles, does not get sacked the first time, and then tosses that one away as the pressure came. And Bryce Dye, who had 13 tackles last week, was the second guy coming in there, and at the last second, just throwing that ball out of bounds.
And it looked for sure like it was Abadelli, the first one in there, unblocked off the edge, just couldn't get enough of him to pull him down. But nice blitz from him off the edge. And a good play call by the Northern Lehigh defense.
So the clock stops with 2:01 remaining. And 9-0 score. Man, I think you and I got here. We've done games here before, but you know when the sun goes down, it's just a different venue. When that sun's up here, boy, it gets you pretty good.
It does, and the sun was shining right into our face about 15 minutes ago.
Catasauqua will take a timeout here, and a 3rd down and 8 from the 36 gives us an opportunity, you know, to give you the recap again. 2-0 after a high snap in the end zone for a safety, and then Joe Abadelli on a 6-yard run. And you know, Matt, your thoughts here, first quarter. You know, you're watching both of these teams, and you know, kind of what they're doing.
I think, you know, what we talked about with the keys of the game. Catasauqua offensively needs to establish that running game, and I think they're starting to do that. And they need to pick and choose effectively when they want to throw the ball. You know, the key to this offense is running the ball. They need to choose wisely when they throw. For Northern Lehigh, it was getting off to that fast start, and I think they've done that in this first quarter of play so far. It's just right now their defense just needs to just settle down, get locked in on what they're doing, and make a big stop here.
Joe Towett talked about, last week about Wilson and Chris Labach's team, and you know, while they pulled out the victory 14-10, just said they're so much more improved, and you know, kind of get a gauge after 2 weeks to see where these teams are. Kind of 3rd down and 8 from the 36. Jourdain in motion once again. He does get it, tries to pop to the outside, now cuts inside, and absolutely nowhere to go. He gets smothered, and then a flag comes in there at the end. Joe Abadelli was one of the guys in there on the tackle, so we'll have to wait on the call. Another flag just popped up. So Jourdain down, and you stop him, you know, driving him into the ground. You know, then I don't know if there's some extracurricular, but then there was a flag at the second time as well.
It looked like they're going to have a holding call against Catasauqua on the first one, then a dead ball personal foul potentially against Catasauqua as the second one.
So 1:52 on the clock, a 9-0 game. And they'll talk things over, and obviously if you're Jourdain, you want to make sure that you're okay. So there's your holding call. So they'll move him back on the second penalty. Again, absolutely nowhere to go. Abadelli came in first and made a great stop and had a good pop in there. So first real big penalty against the Rough Riders.
It is. Now for Northern Lehigh, though, you have to be careful, as with Adam Reinhardt for Catasauqua being both their punter and their kicker. You just don't know if Catasauqua takes a chance here, tries to do something with him back there, or if they kick it away.
So 1:47, clock is rolling. Reinhardt, again, last year was the wide receiver, came to coach and said, I want to work hard to be the quarterback, and last week was his first game at quarterback officially, here to punt the football. And he gets one off, and this one could get a good roll. Actually stays up there and picked up there by Zach Moyer. So it's interesting. Again, you're in the Colonial League, and you're playing two ways and whatever. You have the quarterback for punting and the other quarterback receiving. You don't usually see that as much.
No, you don't. And Zach Moyer, takes a dangerous chance there. Luckily, got a good bounce where the ball came right to him. But he was in a lot of traffic to catch that. Does a nice job handling it, and actually saves him probably about 10 yards.
So 1:25 on the clock. 9-0 is your score. And the ball sits at the 31-yard line. They'll go two receivers up top. So Moyer now rolls. Nothing downfield. He's going to take this and go himself. And Moyer makes a nice move, still on his feet, and ends up getting a couple extra yards all the way up to about the 38-yard line. So a really effective run by Zach Moyer.
It was. On that rollout pass, you have to credit the offensive tackle on the right side as well as the running back for giving him the edge to allow him to come downhill and pick up a nice gain on first down.
They always seem to give people problems, you know what I mean? And you can obviously see he has no issue tucking it and running it. Nice little, keeps himself on balance here with that right hand. Uses a football too.
Yeah, well, he'd have been down if
Yep.
the football touched the ground.
Yeah.
Did not happen. 2nd and 3.
The ball sits at the 38.
Jet sweep.
On the ground. Nowhere to go. Here comes that swarming defense and maybe a face mask. So while you had him pinned back, you're going to get called here with the face mask.
Yeah, you saw the face mask come in there at the end. Defensively, though, doing a nice job corralling him in the backfield, getting outside and turning him back in, making him restart.
There was nowhere to go, but just that.
And it's just a face mask that gets called. His hand was on there. You still have to credit the defense for flying around and making the play to begin with.
So the ball moved up to the 43-yard line. Likely the last play of quarter number 1. Repture in motion. Moyer with the long call and driving through. This is going to be right close to that first down marker on another carry by Matt Frame. So the sophomore gets up across midfield, and that will wind down quarter number 1. 9-0 your score. Back after this with the D11sports.com Game of the Week.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
9-0 as we welcome you back to quarter number 2. Al Carlo, Matt Evancho, Ava Rosario, Northern Lehigh student reporter, is down on the field with us. And Dave Micah up here as well. And, your thoughts of the first quarter, Matt?
We look at, again, we talk about, and I hate to beat a dead horse here, with Northern Lehigh just getting that fast start. Offensively able to get things moving. They did have the one turnover, which I know Coach Tout's not happy with, but they came right back from that. They have a stiff defense. They shut them down, force the punt, snap goes over their head, then they put a drive together offensively. Defensively, they were able to slow down Catasauqua just enough. Penalty forces them back, get the ball back, and they're on their another drive. But Catasauqua still has to understand they're still in this game.
No question. Opening play of quarter number 2, 2nd down and 2. The ball sits right at midfield. And Moyer will give that one up. Taken there by Dale Wanamaker, his first carry of the game. And Wanamaker says, this is why I want the football all the way down inside the 30-yard line.
We mentioned Mike Repture's name already repeatedly tonight. He was out there on the edge as a wide receiver, getting a key block downfield to free him for extra yardage, taking his guy right off the field onto the sideline and not letting him get anywhere near the ball carrier.
Yeah, he's one of those change of pace guys.
So a nice pick down to the 27. Wanamaker 4 carries, 26 yards in the first meeting. Had some some cramps in the first game, and that gave Frame the opportunity to get a little more action. So 1st and 10 from the 27. Moyer will keep this one himself, and Caddy not fooled by any means. There's a couple guys in there immediately, including Elijah Solar.
From his middle linebacker spot, Elijah Solar flies in there, pushing the offensive line back, getting the tackle in the backfield, not giving Moyer any kind of room to run.
So far, you can see this is a different Catasauqua team because they're a little tougher up front. And you're not getting those big explosive plays like last year. So,
one thing that Coach Michael
Get a whistle.
wanted to see this week was a little bit better effort from what he got last week in the last game. 2nd and 12 from the 20.
So the ball sits at the 29-yard line. Moyer was trying to maybe even think about pitching, but he gets some positive yards right around the 25-yard line.
And this is where I think you'll see Catasauqua defensively play a lot more. They have the 3 down linemen, then they have their 5 linebackers. They're bringing those linebackers on pressure a lot more, which is allowing them to disrupt the Northern Lehigh offense in the backfield as opposed to letting them get to the line of scrimmage and letting their offensive line get on those double teams. They're not allowing that to happen with those blitzes.
Plenty of time to snap the ball as they break Cutter with 21 on the play clock. 3rd down 9.
So 10-12 on the clock. 9-0 is your score. And they go with the reverse, and it's taken there by Trevor Ameren. And Ameren will go in for the touchdown.
that was a really great call there. They saw something they liked, and we got the little inside scissors.
So 26 yards on the touchdown by Trevor Ameren.
And I don't know, Al, if you call that a trick play, but they run it as a sweep to the right with Amore coming back underneath the running back, and he pitches it back to him for the reverse. Then you have your offensive line, the tight end, and your quarterback out in front getting the block downfield, and then he takes it the rest of the way. That's something you need to watch out for Northern Lehigh. They typically will run 2-3 trick plays throughout the offense each game.
Extra point, and that one just trickles through for a 16-0 game at the 9:57 mark.
You have to credit the offensive line for Northern Lehigh in opening up these holes for the running backs, the skill position. We're seeing 5, 6, 7 different offensive guys touching the ball for Northern Lehigh. So it doesn't matter. You can't just, for Catasauqua, you cannot just key on one of them because they have multiple weapons to utilize.
Really nice call. A little change of pace there from what they were running. Something different. Kind of what they did last week.
So little by little, though, this score is moving up for the Bulldogs. And now, if you're Catasauqua, you don't want to dig yourself a hole. Actually, this is interesting where we were last week because it was 16-0 or is it 18-0?
It was 18, I think.
18-0. Yeah, 18-0 in the Easton. Actually, it was 19-0.
Yes.
Easton and Pocono Mountain West, and next thing you knew, it was 26-21 at one point in that game, and that stayed close. So we'll see what happens here as the Rough Riders will get an opportunity to get the football back here with 9:57 on the clock in the second quarter.
And we're talking about high school athletes and high school football where momentum plays such a huge part. All you need is one play, one big key for either team, and that makes a huge difference.
Reinhardt gets across the 35 up towards about the 37, 38-yard line, and the Rough Rider offense will hit the field once again, down by the score of 16-0. So a safety, then a 6-yard touchdown by Joe Abadelli, and a 26-yard touchdown via the reverse to Trevor Amorim. 16-0 is your score. So the ball from the 37 to get things started. This one in the middle part of the field had a receiver, and that one is intercepted, or is it? They'll say no. Moyer had his hands on it, but maybe couldn't hold it at the last second. And just kind of skid off the ground just a little bit.
Yeah, from up here, Al, it looked like he had that. Get a look at the replay here.
Ooh. It was
if
close.
That touches the ground. That barely touches the ground.
That was close.
That was really close. But you get a good look there at the strength of that Catasauqua offense, that offensive line, giving Reinhardt a lot of time back there to find his receiver downfield.
2nd down and 10. They'll go to the ground. It's taken there by Jourdain. Good thing is Jourdain back in the contest after getting dinged up. Bad thing is only gained about a yard on that carry.
And as we talked about earlier, Jourdain really didn't have a lot of carries last week. Didn't play a huge part into that offensive game plan. We're definitely seeing how much they want to utilize him now.
Yeah, usually you see headhunters out there.
Exactly. They're only interested in the hit.
Yeah.
Here it's 3rd and 8 for the Ruffians.
So 9:23 on the clock, a 16-0 advantage.
They don't like to be in.
Clock has been stopped momentarily. Now it starts.
As Adam Reinhardt checks the coaching staff. Again, a 6'3", 185-pound senior who was the wide receiver last year and converted into the quarterback. You know, Coach McLaren said to me, you know, he's learning, and he's fine. He knows what he can do, and he's going to take time. 3rd down and 8 from the 38. Inside 9 to play. Looking to throw, now takes off. And gets taken down around the 43-yard line. He was that close to gaining some more yards.
He was, and then you saw, again, your defensive lineman from last week, Bryce Dye, chasing down, pursuing from the backside, grabbing enough of them to bring him down, not giving up the 1st down.
Fourth down and 4 as we clock it down to the 8-minute mark. And that one almost gets blocked. It just went off the side of his foot. Ends up getting a positive roll right around the 24-yard line. So Matt, 8:06 on the clock, down 16-0. Defensively, this is a must-stop.
I think it has to be for Catasauqua. They need to get something, an early stop no less, to try to get the ball in some decent field position for their offense. Again, we always talk about, you know, I always look ahead to the 3rd quarter. Here, if they can get a stop here, then get something going offensively, maybe get some points out of it. They're getting the ball back again in the 2nd half to start. You know, that's a big momentum change for them. If just has to start here with this defensive stand.
Well, right now, the defense has to come to play. We are right at the 8-minute mark. Glad you could join us here for the D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Aldi Carlo, Matt Evancho. We'll be right back at it next week as we go out of district in a great matchup between 2 state-ranked teams, North Schuylkill taking on Wyomissing.
So I mentioned earlier about how the Catasauqua defense starting to bring pressure from those linebacker positions. We'll see if Northern Lehigh continues to go with some misdirection, trying to get them out of position.
Here's Dale Wanamaker. Wanamaker started things off at the 24-yard line, and he gets all the way up to the 44-yard line. So it's a solid pickup. So 2 runs by Wanamaker. They were pretty impressive.
They are. And this time it's Moyer handing off right to Wanamaker on a little zone read. Just gives the ball to him, and he finds a seam on the left side and able to find a big gain.
So they're out to the 44, 1st down and 10.
Now, if you're watching us right now, tell your friends. Follow us on Twitter at D11 Sports, and you can actually go to YouTube at D-11 Sports and take a look at what we did last week and the games coming up as well. Of course, we have our big student reporter program. That is going on as well. What's going on right now is a huge run all the way down inside the 30-yard line, down to about the 27-yard line. Some great runs by Frame all night. And when I talked to Joe Tout, he said this guy could be the real deal. It's early, but take a look at his run.
It is, and you're looking at a kid 5'11", 190 pounds as a sophomore, but you can see here it's not just power out of him. He has a lot of speed and a lot of elusiveness as he goes up the middle of the offense right through the defense.
Weaving through traffic for 30 yards.
And just like that, the ball sits at the 21-yard line with under 7 to play. And the Bulldogs will take a timeout. So breaking the action here as they'll think about this one and see what they will do. So a break here. And, with that, obviously, this is a short week. We mentioned, game on a Thursday night, and we hope you're enjoying it as well as we're bringing it into your living room. Again, however you want. I was on my 70-inch TV earlier today, and I just popped on YouTube, and it comes right up on there. And, my face on there looks bigger than, I know my head's big, but, my face was, up there, and it was pretty impressive at the same time. So, I'm not afraid to say it. But, that's a cool way where you can just be right on your TV, and you can, just pop it right up and watch it via YouTube right there for you.
Exactly. It was nice that they gave us stools up here tonight, Al, where mine was a little bit shorter than yours to try to put us as equal height.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I know, as Frame takes that carry, during the week, got a couple comments that I was too short. So I'm glad they gave me the extra 2 inches here.
Now, I can't help but look over Dave's shoulder here at some of the comments coming in. One of the comments being a throwback to the right around 2010, 2011 year, fullback Matt Gill and running back Cody Romali. What a duo that was for Northern Lehigh, and what they were able to just run up and down the field on teams in the Colonial League.
Yeah, that was a dynamic duo without question. 2nd down and 7, the ball sits at the 23-yard line. A long count here from Moyer, and he pops that one across and gives it to Abadelli. Abadelli pops to the outside and still on his feet. Will get the first down inside the 15-yard line. So Abadelli looked like he wasn't going to get it, and then you see the extra effort. He just turned himself and just moved it up a notch and got the first down.
I didn't think originally he was going to get outside of the pursuit of Steven Schwab and Elijah Solar from the defense, but able to just get enough on the edge until he's ran out of bounds by Jourdain.
So under 6 to play. Down to about 5:40 on the clock. 16-0 your score as we get inch closer to halftime. But at the same time, Moyer gives that one up, diving forward. Gained about 1.5 yards, a little bit more than that by Dale Wanamaker. He had 2 big runs. That one just a couple yards.
And I think for Coach McLaren with the defense, I think you want to just gain a little more consistency. You're seeing their first down. They're making some good stops. They're getting some good stops on 2nd down, but then just breaking a little bit too much on 3rd down or 2nd down on some. They need to just be consistent and try to just stay with that same relentless effort all downs.
2nd down and 9, the ball at the 13. And the toss across is Repsher. And Repsher goes nowhere, and he is met by some white jerseys, including Jacob Shire.
You were seeing some nice tackles by Jacob Schreier coming up from his linebacker spot. That time he made the previous play as well. Now for Catasauqua, you have to just settle down. You have to be prepared and ready for any kind of trick play coming from Northern Lehigh on 3rd and long. I mean, I know in the past you're looking at a halfback pass. You're looking at another reverse, some sort of inside wingback counter. So you have to be prepared for all of these plays. And it gives you a lot to practice against all week long because you just never know when they're going to come or which one they're going to use.
Now this time they're going to line Repsher out to the far side of the field. 3rd down 9 from the 13, 4:38 on the clock. Moyer to throw, and he's looking towards Repsher, and that one is knocked away. Great job defensively by Jourdain.
Hey, Jourdain just sat on the break of the receiver as he was breaking out in that quick out, able to get his hand in very nearly, almost got his second hand around, could have picked that off, and that would have been clear sailing for him to the end zone.
you're looking at a 30-yard field goal. Joe Tout told me, early on, he goes, we're probably going to go for the most part unless it's, real close. And obviously you have momentum going your way at the same time. So, again, see what happens here. 4th down and 9, the ball at the 13. Moore in the count, going to throw, has a receiver, and in for the touchdown from 13 yards is Tyler Long. So a 13-yard touchdown to Tyler Long, and it comes at the 4:28 mark to increase the lead.
And you see the guy coming in motion to the right. This is typical Northern Lehigh. They try to get you spread by having 2x2, 2 tight ends, 1 on each side, 2 flankers on each side. They run the 4 guys down the middle, and they have nobody on one of those tight ends. And it's just an easy read for the quarterback. I'm going to read the left or the right, which one's uncovered, and I'm going to throw to him, and it was for an easy read for Moyer.
Extra point, that one is blocked. First guy in there was Steven Schwab. And that keeps it 22-0 with 4:28 on the clock.
And right now that's 3 scores for Catasauqua to come back. So still very manageable, but they just can't let this get too far away. They had a nice defensive stand there until that 4th down play, and they just weren't able to make a play on that, and they were able to. Northern Lehigh was able to capitalize.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's just 3 touchdowns, so anything's possible at this point.
And as I said earlier, what you're seeing from Northern Lehigh and Coach Tout, with another week of practice, they now have more of their offensive players in the game plan. It's not just 2, 3, 4 guys. It's 6, 7, 8 guys.
You don't have the resume to bring him down, Jim?
Some of these other well-fed young men who are more athletically fit couldn't do it either. Getting outside.
Nice throw to a little tight spiral.
4th down play. Now the kickoff.
This one fielded at the 21-yard line and taken there by Riley Reinhardt. And Reinhardt is going to coast his way down inside the 10-yard line, and he will go in, or will he? They're going to mark this touchdown. 79 yards for the touchdown.
Just like that.
And that's the spark Catasauqua needs. We said earlier about how Reinhardt very narrowly had a hole that he could run through. This time he does get through there and takes it the rest of the way. Almost gets tripped up before the end zone, but you can see he gets in there for the touchdown.
77 is the official total.
It was just a matter of time before these athletes for Catasauqua had something go their way.
Well, that is a solid run for him as he just took off and went down there for the touchdown, and a great job there by Riley Reinhardt.
Now we have to see for Catasauqua, can they build on this? Can they build and get some more going from this? Because they can't just rest on that. They have a little bit of time left here in the second quarter, 4:14 left. We want to make sure that they can get this going.
Don't see that much.
Decided to go with Adam Reinhardt. They have a fake in mind. He's a quarterback. Reinhardt kicks it ahead.
And that one is blocked. Great job defensively coming through there is Jaden Krompaski. So with 4:14 on the clock, it's 22-6.
Yeah, he just came through basically untouched.
4:14 to go.
So the coaches on the field, Al, have a lot more on their minds than me up here. But I'm thinking off that original kickoff for Catasauqua, Reinhardt did not get a real great kick. It almost hit the ground. Could have bounced back into the Catasauqua coverage unit. We'll see what happens here. If they do get a kickoff like that again, does it kick back to the Catasauqua coverage unit, and maybe they recover, give them another possession here in the second quarter?
Well, it gives you some spark. Again, there's 4:14 left, but you go 77, 78 yards for a touchdown, and it gives you that spark. You just went down. You're trailing the game 22-0, and just like that, things started to change a little bit. Again, you always want to take some momentum in the locker room, but at the same time, if you're Catasauqua, you're looking at the clock saying 4:14. We want the football back, and we cannot. And can ill afford them scoring again.
Correct. They can't give that up again. And I think you look at the momentum, even though they gave up the score on 4th down, you have to look at, okay, we held them until that 4th down conversion for the touchdown. So they do have some momentum. They do have some positives going their way. That kickoff return obviously helps them out a tremendous amount. Now it's back on the defense and seeing if they can get something going again.
Then County, they really controlled the likes it. But you never want to give up that explosive.
So they'll kick the ball off
Like you said, you're not going to get a team right back.
once again. And this one right at the 20-yard line. And a burst of speed coming through, and still some more space by Abadelli. And Abadelli gets across the 45-yard line up towards the 46. So great field position once again for the Bulldogs.
And for Catasauqua and their kickoff team and Reinhardt there, I don't know who you want to try to kick deep to. You have Abadelli back there, and you also have Repture back there. I guess you just have to pick your poison. Which one do you let touch the ball? I mean, I guess the other option, you just kick short and don't let either one of them touch the ball.
First down and 10 for the Bulldogs. They have 2 timeouts left.
So 4:07 on the clock.
And they're in the shotgun set.
22-6 is your score.
Repture and
And take himself, but nowhere to go. Moyer try to go forward and not. And if you're right now, the Rough Riders, you're obviously thinking stop each one and try to get the football back, and anything's possible. At the same time, you've seen some long runs from Wanamaker. You see some long runs, from a couple of different players. And, Repture is obviously another dangerous guy on there.
It is, and I think Northern Lehigh's offense is getting a lot of their success from some misdirection plays, the counters, the reverses. So we'll see if they use that a lot more here.
They give that one to Repture. Repture tries to turn upfield, but nothing there. Now he wants to throw. He waits, and then throws it downfield. Repture connects with a big pass play inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line. So you think it wasn't going to work, and all of a sudden it did, as he connects it and gives it right back to Reinhardt.
And there's another one of those trick plays by Northern Lehigh's offense. They bring Repture in motion. I want to check the replay to see if it was a handoff or if he flipped it to him. If he flipped it to him, that's considered a forward pass. You can see clearly he just hands it off to him and allows him that opportunity to get that pass off.
I mentioned Reinhardt's he's a wide receiver last year, so he's allowed to make those catches. He can. So 22-6, and they go back to the action. Excuse me, Amarin had my rosters because you were looking at me strange. I'm like wondering why. So Amorum with that catch.
And you can see the pursuit of the Catasauqua defense. They do have speed to the ball. They are able to get to the ball quickly and able to hem in this Northern Lehigh offense. It's when the Northern Lehigh offense runs that misdirection or runs straight downhill, side to side, the Catasauqua athleticism can match them with that. I think they need to sit more on their power and just come downhill at this defense.
This is still huge here. Second down and 10, the ball at the 28-yard line. Moore going to throw. Here comes a rush, and he connects once again inside the 20, down to about the 17-yard line. So right now, Moyer throwing the football has been pretty effective, as this time it connects into the hands of.
Looked like it was number 86 again, Tyler Long, who caught the touchdown pass just this last series.
So they get the first down. It was indeed Long. And they get the first down, and the clock rolls, and we're under 2 minutes to play from Slatington. We're in the second quarter. On the ground they go. From the 17, and tripped up at the last second was Joe Abadelli.
And it looked like it was Riley Reinhardt coming in from his cornerback spot, just getting enough of him to trip him up, not letting him get into the end zone, because he had a lot of blocking in front of him, a lot of empty space.
Goal to go for the Bulldogs at the Catasauqua 6.
So first and goal from the 6. And with that, a timeout for the Rough Riders. Again, a big play here, and obviously you have your back against the wall without a doubt. And, at the same time, you kind of like, try to get that feel and see what you're going to do. But, if you stop them, it's huge momentum. They go in and score, it's a big difference.
It is. I think if Catasauqua was talking about, they saw the set that Northern Lehigh is going to come out in. so far tonight in that full house backfield, they've been giving it to Frame or running some counters with Abadelli at the running back spot. So it'd be interesting to see what they come out in now to see if Catasauqua saw that. Will they creep up, and then will Northern Lehigh let Moyer throw the ball just like he has so far this drive?
Northern Lehigh got on the scoreboard on a high snap that went over the head of Adam Reinhardt. 2-0 was the score at the 7:39 mark of the first quarter. Then a 6-yard touchdown run by Joe Abadelli made it 9-0. That was your score after one quarter. At the 9:57 mark of the second quarter, a 26-yard touchdown via the reverse to Trevor Amorin. 16-0 Northern Lehigh. Zach Moyer then 13 yards to Tyler Long. And they went up by the score of 22-0, but ensuing kickoff, Riley Reinhardt goes 77 yards on a kickoff return to make it 22-6. But right now, first and goal from the 6. And Abadelli will go in for the touchdown. So a 6-yard touchdown by Joe Abadelli. That's his second touchdown of the game.
He had two big fullbacks blocking in front of him. He had his offensive line on the right side opening up the hole for him, and they were able to just get downhill real fast. And once he has a full head of steam, it's hard to bring him down without somewhat of a gain, 5, 6, 7 yards.
So Abadelli punches in for the second time. 6 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns. They will try to increase their lead with a 2-point conversion. There's a flag on the play as Abadelli goes in.
Looks like this was thrown in the area of holding, and unfortunately the Catasauqua player on the ground. We're getting a legal chop block.
So after the illegal block.
So what happens on that, the illegal chop block, typically you'll have 2 linemen going to double team one of the defensive linemen, and one of them goes low and one of them stays high on the shoulders. And if that happens, the official will throw that flag almost immediately. The problem with some of the teams, and not the teams, but for the offensive guys, is if you are in that double team, they're both up blocking around the shoulders. If one kid starts to slip and fall down and the other one stays engaged, unfortunately you get that called against you as well.
So 1:22 on the clock, 28-6.
So the kick will come from the 25-yard line. They did send Missouri out.
And they will walk Levante Bowie, I believe it is, to the sideline. That's one of your key players. Again, when you have only 30 players on the team, everyone's a key player, and I think that's what was talked about in the pregame with Mike McLaren.
4 wides in the shotgun.
So they'll try it once again.
Lining up to the right of Moyer. They fake it to him.
And now Moyer's going to go far corner and connect. So Moyer showing his arm as he hits Repture for that 2-point conversion to increase the lead. Take a look.
And as you're watching, I mean, you saw there was a play action to number 20 from Northern Lehigh. Dale Wanamaker just does enough to free up and hold the defensive back in Jourdain, allowing Repture to find some space behind him.
30-6 on the Palmerton Garage Door scoreboard. Let's take a look at how this drive plays.
So that comes out to, increase the lead now to 30-6, and you're Catasauqua. Something can happen here, and you get another one of those run backs, you'll take it.
Absolutely, you'll take it. But you also have some time where your offense can get moving, maybe get something going. Again, trying to build some sort of momentum going into the locker room with just a little over 1 minute left in the half.
And then you'll see this 2-point, nice little inside fake, and just perfect throw, leading the guy right to the spot. The defense knew they were beat. They were trying to get to the ball, but he got it only where Repture could catch it.
Next week we'll be at Wyomissing for an afternoon game on a Saturday. North Schuylkill and Wyomissing, and then Salisbury and Saucon Valley, your stomping grounds.
That's a quick turnaround too. Saturday afternoon game, then we have to go back Thursday night.
Yep, we'll go back to back with Thursday nights from the 14th, and nothing happening there as Riley Reinhardt gets popped on the play right around the 30-yard line with 1:17 remaining.
So Catasauqua starts at its own 31-yard line.
And then on the tackle, who else but Abadelli getting it done on the offensive side, the defensive side, as well as special teams.
You know, that game next week is monstrous. You know, you look at Wyomissing and North Schuylkill and two heavyweights when it comes to football programs this year. You know, Dave Micah is also EasternPAFootball.com. He's got North Schuylkill way up there. And that's a strong team, so it should be an interesting matchup next Saturday afternoon. Looking to throw is Reinhardt, and nowhere to go. And there's a flag that comes in. And sometimes, Matt, you just got to eat it, considering the score, you know, it's 30-6. You don't want that ball to get loose. Next thing you know, it bobbles and it goes in for a touchdown.
Exactly, and the play started with pressure from the defensive left side coming. The running back tried to pick up the blitz and just not able to do it. And they pushed the pressure, pushed it on Reinhardt, and he doesn't have anywhere to go.
So 1:08 on the clock, 30-6 is your score. First down marker, by the way, is sitting at the 41-yard line with 1:08 on the clock. And there's Jourdain, and Jourdain was quick out of the backfield, almost lost a football.
The official quickly comes in saying he was down on the
If you're Northern Lehigh, all right, there it is. I was just going to say, if you're Northern Lehigh, do you call that timeout? I mean, there's 58 seconds left, but you would get great field position if you have a stop here.
Absolutely, you'll get great field position. And then, you know, with the way your offense is going, even with the passing game and the running game, they're running their plays so fast offensively that you can still run the ball and still get down the field and potentially get another score before the half.
And we join those that are watching us via the live stream right now on YouTube. 30-6 is your score. Al DiCarlo alongside Matt Evancho, Dave Micah, communicating with everyone out there as well. Ava Rosario from Northern Lehigh, a senior, on the sideline. She'll be talking to Dave about the first half and about our D11 sports program as well with our students. And we're so excited to have more than 30 students involved. You know, more than 15 schools taking part at the same time. And, you know, if you're interested and you're a student and you want to take part in our D11 sports internship program, you know, you can email Dave or I at d11sports.com, or you can just go right to your athletic director and they will follow up with some paperwork and get you in touch with us. But really exciting time. Opening weekend was great. We had reporters, student reporters out to 6-7 games, and, you know, tomorrow will be the same kind of thing. But it's not only football. We're going to be covering all different events and field hockey, cross country, which everything really gets going this weekend. Where, Matt, I know you're the head coach at Saucon Valley for golf, and you guys are well into your season already.
Absolutely. You know, luckily I was up here at Blue Shamrock against Palmerton, you know, for a golf match today, and able to get down here for the game. But we're well into it. Golf's such an early season too. We already have. We technically had our 7th match today.
It's amazing.
You know, we're only 1 week, 4 days into school.
Yeah, it's amazing because I look at golf and tennis always starting off when they do, and, you know, while everybody else starts off, it's like you're 8-9 in before school actually gets into play, before their first game, which will be September 3rd for a lot of them.
True, absolutely. And I think the one thing that helps it too is if you have a quad match or a tri match, you're getting 2-3 matches in right away. And I do like the fact that we do have them before school starts and a lot in the first week, because it's so much missed school. I mean, our golfers today were dismissed at 12:45, so we could get up to Palmerton, you know, because you lose daylight. You can't play late into the night. So, you know, the fact that we have them so early, you know, that kind of helps.
Well, if I played, I would go well into the night with my score.
I'm not far behind you.
Some great pressure, but they get it off, and Moyer's going to take it home for his 38-yard line. And Moyer almost squeaked through, and a great job of knocking him down was Riley Reinhardt. So 39 seconds left, and there's still time here, you know, to make something happen if you're Northern Lehigh.
And if you're Northern Lehigh, you don't necessarily need to go to the air right away. As long as you can get out of bounds, if you pick up a first down, get the clock stopped, and then spike the ball, you can kind of save time there. But they do need to work towards the sideline to try to save as much time as they can.
So they'll mark this one at the 32-yard line. And Moyer is going to throw. And he's going far side once again, and a great catch. Does he hold on to it? He does. Wow. 32-yard touchdown into the hands of Repsher. Was that impressive, or was that impressive? Take a look.
That was a nice play by Repsher. Moyer gives his receiver a chance. They run off the play action, which at this point the defense should not be faked on, but he does a great job keeping his eyes on the ball and bringing it in, and then turning around, having the presence of mind to know where he's at on the field, diving and getting the ball across the goal line for the touchdown.
So Repsher scores at the 31-second mark. And then Moyer goes in for the 2-point conversion.
And that was not the sequence of events that, if you Catasauqua, that you wanted on that one. Coach McLaren knew going in how he had to replace some key players from last year with some younger players. We talked about the sophomores and freshmen that are playing in the game. And when you play with those young guys, they're going to make some mistakes on plays like that. And all you can do is just go up to them, just tell them, forget about it, come back at the next one, and continue playing, because they're obviously in there for a reason, because they do have the ability. It's just getting used to that varsity Thursday, Friday night, Saturday game speed.
And this one getting away from him. But how about Repsher? I mean, he makes, excuse me, a huge catch. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. You know, we saw earlier, you know, when there was a nice catch on that far corner, but this one, you know, even more impressive.
It is. And, you know, he came into the game with 3 receptions for 42 yards from last week's game. Easily over that already tonight in the first half.
So they'll kick off here, and if you're the Rough Riders, you just want to kind of get downfield, and if you can get a good run. If not, they want to just take that knee and go into the locker room. So 25 ticks on the clock.
I think if you're Catasauqua, they're probably just going to take a knee on this ball, let the clock run out for the half, and just get in, regroup, come out and play a whole new half.
Get into the locker room and make some adjustments and try to come out.
County will get the football to start the second half.
38-6 is your score, 25 seconds left. I think you probably run one play. And straight through. Good job there on the run. We may see more from Anthony Hunsiger. See if the Rough Riders try to run one more play. Don't know if they will. So clock winds down, and the Bulldogs started with a 2-0 lead, and from there they moved it upfield and did a great job, and you know, really just started to increase their lead. The momentum started to build at the same time. And doing a good job for them as they, you know, score touchdown after touchdown. Obviously, the lone touchdown by Catasauqua held it from going a little bit too far. But at the same time, when you look at it, you know, things started to change there. But the score at the half, 38-6. Back with more action for the D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts. Searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
you're hurting. Is it your back or your knee? That old football injury? Get the rehabilitation you need. In most cases, you won't need a script from your doctor. In Pennsylvania and New Jersey, a law called Direct Access lets you see a physical therapist without a prescription. And if your insurance requires a prescription, physical therapy at St. Luke's will work with your doctor to get you the care you need that is covered. Let us speed up your recovery. We're in your neighborhood. Call Physical Therapy at St. Luke's.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Hi, we're here with David Micah, just here to ask some questions, co-owner of D11sports.com. 38-6 first half. What are your thoughts on the game?
Well, the first half I thought started a little slow. You got the punt went over the punter's head, got the 2 points there, and then they got a touchdown late. It was 9-0 after the first quarter. And what I saw was two very good defenses swarming to the ball, and I thought looked like a low-scoring game. Catasauqua or Northern Lehigh, really their offense exploded the second half. Moyer, tremendous quarterback, really distributed the ball well. He was throwing the ball to running backs, wide receivers, running the ball. He wore a lot of hats. He was doing punt returns, did a tremendous job, I thought, the first half, and getting that late touchdown to make it 38-6. Northern Lehigh, very impressive.
What do you think Catasauqua has to do to bring it back in the second half?
Well, I think it's going to start with their defense. They need to try to force punts, 3-and-outs. When they get the ball, they're going to have to convert. They need to finish drives. If they cannot finish drives, this game may be over pretty quick.
Do you think Northern Lehigh's first two games are any indication of what's to come for this season?
Yeah, and we talked to the coach prior to the game, and he was talking about last week what he was impressed was his defense. They swarmed to the ball. You saw that the first half. Those kids were swarming to the ball. And honestly, they really shut them down. It was just a kickoff return on special teams that Catasauqua got to make, to give them 6 points. But Northern Lehigh's defense, lights out.
Do you think having this game on a Thursday has affected this at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's a short week. It's tough. We talked to the coach. It's tough when, you're not in your routine. Football players like routine, but again, you see the results. I don't see any, I know they didn't have maybe the best practice this week, but it's not showing this first half. They did a tremendous job.
Can you tell us a bit more about the D11 sports program?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things we've been doing is getting high school students like yourself involved. And we have students all over from Schuylkill County, Lehigh Valley up in the Poconos. And this is a program that, we just started. It's going to grow. We have, I think, 32 kids, and you're going to see a lot more as it comes.
Pop you out for a second so we're going to talk here.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
Well, 38-6 as we welcome you back here to Northern Lehigh High School. Al DeCarlo alongside Matt Evancho. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. And an interesting contest early on. It goes 2-0. Next thing you know is 38-6. A lot of things happen in that contest, and Northern Lehigh is showing right now, even though we're only 2 weeks into the season, that they have some players.
They do, and I think we're seeing a lot of them. Abadelli, we're seeing Moyer, Tyler Long at the tight end position, Repsher from his wide receiver spot, and Frame from his fullback spot. They have a great core group, but you have to credit the offensive line as well. You can't just have those athletes and have no one able to block or give time in the passing game.
You know, we always talk about, all the players, and like you mentioned, the running backs, the receivers, the quarterback. If it's not for the offensive line, and they never get credit, but we like to give them credit because they deserve all the credit, because if they don't make those holes, nothing happens.
Absolutely, and I think we're seeing two good offensive lines here tonight. Catasauqua's offensive line, even though statistically Catasauqua does not have a lot going on, their offensive line is sustaining their blocks. They're opening some holes. It's just that Northern Lehigh defense is playing tenacious right now.
Now, speaking of tenacious, you look at Catasauqua. What do they have to do, or can they do anything to get back into this game?
I think what they have to do is they went into the locker room, and I believe Coach McLaren just got them to regroup. They need to come out, forget about the score, forget about what's happened so far. Build on this half now. Let's play one half, one play at a time, stack one simple play on one simple play, and just continue to do that, because as we said earlier, they are a young group. They do have a lot of youth in there. They need to just stay positive and continue to build for the future.
All right, you're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. We'll go down to the field now for the start of the second half. And obviously a good time at the same time, for us as they get ready, as they take the field and, prepare for the second half. It'd be interesting what they're capable of doing. Good job by Ava Rosario and Dave Micah down the field, and Ava doing a good job on the sidelines for us as well. And great opportunity for her as part of our D11 Sports internship program, getting different schools involved and different students involved. And if you're a student and you're interested in our D11sports.com program, just hit us up. Al at D11sports.com or Dave at D11sports.com, or go to your athletic director, and they will make their way towards us and let us know. But we're really excited about the program and the partnership that we have with St. Luke Sports Medicine, and everything in between, and adding the football to it as well. I think is this is great atmosphere. Again, we talk about this all the time. An opportunity for anybody, anywhere, alumni, to get a chance to watch this game, whether you're streaming it on your TV, you're watching on your mobile device, or you're watching on your laptop or iPad or whatever you have, your Android, you can see it anywhere, across the country.
And it's not only that you can see it, it's not that we're just bringing it to you live. The fact that the picture, the quality of it is clear, it's perfect. We had the one hiccup last week, that's behind us. We made the tweaks, we brought out a new game plan. We're ready to go, looking better than ever. From the first half, Catasauqua's main offensive threat was their kickoff return by Riley Reinhardt. We'll see if they can get something going here on the opening kickoff of the second half.
Here's Jourdain. Jourdain has some space, and now busts to the outside, cuts back in, has some space. And check out Jourdain still on his feet across midfield. Jourdain gets down to the 40-yard line, inside the 35, all the way down to the 25-yard line. Wow. How about that start by Jakeem Jourdain as he goes plus 50 on the run back to start things off. Their biggest play of the game, aside of that big touchdown of 70 yards.
Exactly. And, I mentioned earlier about, when Catasauqua was kicking off, who do you decide to kick off to? Do you kick off to Abadelli, or do you kick off the Repsher back deep for Northern Lehigh? You have the same issue with Northern Lehigh kicking off to Catasauqua. You have Reinhardt back deep, and you also have Jourdain back deep, and you can see there Reinhardt had the 77-yard touchdown return, and Jourdain just weaved his way up for that long kickoff return.
So they go in, and Jourdain gets no break. How about that? They say, you know what, we like what you just did, and you went, plus 50. How about taking it again? He goes, wait, coach, give me a little breather here, as he goes, about a yard on that first carry.
And Jourdain's one of those running backs that's new to the offense in the starting position. He's going to need to learn from his coaches. There's some plays you just can't beat or bust to the outside. You can't just rely on your speed. Sometimes you just have to put your foot in the ground, get north-south, get what you can on the gains.
Taking that one was Riley Reinhardt, but he got ripped down on the play and never a chance as Dale Wanamaker came in and pinned him.
And we mentioned Dale Wanamaker's name a lot on offense in the first half. Here you get to see him making a great play on defense. He blows up the blocker, pushes him back with a lot of pressure, and then able to just bring down the running back in the backfield.
Shout out to former head coach Jim Tack. He's watching our stream tonight. 38-6. Looking to throw. Here comes that pressure again. And wow, never stopped as Wanamaker comes in with a huge sack. So Wanamaker getting things going defensively at the same time.
You get a good look here at him coming out from his linebacker spot, blitzing through. Little mix-up in pass protection from the offensive line. Unfortunately, it didn't matter if they did cover everyone. Northern Lehigh still had a free rusher coming, and that time it was Dale Wanamaker getting the stop behind the line of scrimmage for the sack.
So you get the huge run by Jourdain, but then Wanamaker comes up with some big plays defensively. High snap handled there and looking to take this one aside to surprise him a little bit, and Reinhardt gets a bunch of it back. And you know, really when you think about it, no damage really done there because, you know, you're trying to punt. You may be punting in the end zone, ball get the 20-yard line. If not, maybe about right around the same range, you're going to get the ball anyway.
And I was just about to say, and again, people might say, well, you saw it happen first. You can easily say that. But at some point, when was Reinhardt going to pull down one of those and run it? But like you said, if they do punt it away, it goes in the end zone, that's a net change of about 8 yards. Even if they do punt it and it doesn't go in the end zone, they get a return, you're looking probably about the same field position. So good choice by Catasauqua to try to make something happen.
Northern Lehigh trying to get going, and Wanamaker and the defense here. And that's one thing, the defense for Catasauqua not giving up. Stephen Schwab, one of the guys in there for the Rough Riders.
And Coach McLaren mentioned that about how he felt his defense was the key to the team. It was the strength of their team. The way they were able to run around in their pursuits of the ball, it's again coming back to the misdirection. When Northern Lehigh is able to run some misdirection plays and catch Catasauqua in too fast pursuit.
If you're watching us here on D11sports.com, Northwestern on top of Salisbury at the half by a score of 16-10 on another Thursday night game. And that one all the way up to the 40 and a nice solid run by Matt Frame. I tell you what, when you talk to Joe Talley, he talks about Frame, and now you see him, he has some good runs, and you could see the way he looks upfield, the way he shuffles those feet. He is going to be a good one.
And he's in the Northern Lehigh offense, the Northern Lehigh system that Coach Tout has, he's your prototypical fullback who can also play some halfback if they need him to.
8:11 on the clock. And the flag comes out against the Rough Riders. 38-6 is your score at the 8:11 mark here in the third quarter. We'll take you to the scoring in the first half after this play.
I believe that's the fourth or fifth penalty against Catasauqua in this game. I believe only one for Northern Lehigh, which Coach Tout was very pleased with his team last week. Getting through the game against Wilson, only one penalty for his team.
On the ground they go again. And about to the 47-yard line. So Riley Reinhardt had the interception at the 10-yard line that stalled the Northern Lehigh drive early on, but then a high snap in the end zone to Adam Reinhardt made it 2-0 Northern Lehigh. At the 5:11 mark of the first quarter, a 6-yard touchdown run by Joe Abadelli made it 9-0. In the second quarter, at the 9:57 mark, a 26-yard touchdown via the reverse to Trevor Morin made it 16-0 Northern Lehigh. Get back to the scoring after this play. 2nd down and 4, the ball at the 46-yard line. And spinning through And nowhere to go was Abadelli. Abadelli gets taken to the ground. Zach Moyer, a 13-yard touchdown to Tyler Long, made it 22-0. That came at the 4:28 mark. Ensuing kickoff, Riley Reinhardt goes 77 yards for the kickoff return to make it 22-6. But things really changed, though, in the final minute and a half. At the 1:22 mark, a six-yard touchdown run by Abadelli, his second. A two-point conversion from Moyer to Mike Repsher made it 30-6. And then with 31 seconds left on the clock, a 32-yard touchdown from Moyer to Mike Repsher. Add the two-point conversion to Zach Moyer and made it 38-6. And just rolling along here, you talk about Repsher, you talk about Frame, and Frame moves the chains once again. Northern Lehigh said they were going to use 5-6 running backs tonight, and that's indeed what they have done. Use 5-6 running backs tonight.
They have, and then when you add in there Amorum at the wide receiver spot, Repsher at the wide receiver spot, and you have to count Moyer as a running back as well with the way he's running the ball.
No doubt.
I mean, you're looking 6-7 athletes deep for this offense.
So from the 42, on the ground again, they go. Abadelli tries to get to the right side and gets across the 40 down to about the 37-yard line. So again, you're getting 5-6. You know, they're starting to open up some more seams and wearing down this defense for Catasauqua. And Catasauqua's got some big boys on that, on that line as well. You look at number 73 and at Douglas Scott, 5'11", 250. Tyler Monahan, 6'1", 310. Alex Oakley is 6 foot, 270. So they got some big guys there. Man in the line.
They do, and I think you credit them in the coaching from the week with this three-man front. It really gives the offensive line some fits because you have to be able to block men in space, and they're able to get their hands on these linebackers in space and help open up holes for these running backs.
Here's Frame, drives through, gets close to that first down marker. And they bring him down, so it'll be a third down, and at the end of that, a flag is thrown. So 5:18 on the clock, 38-6. Again, he was there short on the play. But with that, you can add 15 to that, and you'll get your first down.
And for Coach McLaren, that's definitely something you don't want to see. You don't want to see your players start to self-destruct. You're battling, you're playing solid, you're playing tough. Yeah, the score's not in your favor, but you can't afford to self-destruct because then later on down the road, that becomes a lot easier and it starts creeping its way into the game much sooner.
17 or 18 first downs for the
5:10 on the clock, 38-6, first down and 10, the ball at the 18-yard line. And that one just stripped away. It looked like the play may have been done, but all of a sudden Donovan Keys picks it up, and Donovan Keys down the far sideline, and he gets tripped up right around the 38-yard line. So you're going in for a touchdown, the ball gets pulled out, and things change from there.
And we mentioned the Catasauqua defense has been solid. There's been some busted plays. They've given up some big plays running-wise and passing-wise, but for the most part, they've been kind of solid. And you see there another turnover, which can't make Joe Tout happy.
Well, he just ripped it out and just took it, and just you start pushing your legs, and all of a sudden they don't call it dead, and next thing you know, you're going down the field.
And that's what, as a coach, what do you say to him? He's fighting for extra yards. He just needs to get two hands on that ball and just hold on to it as tight as he can and not let anybody take it away.
Again, Caddy trying to build on this drive, looking to throw. Off the back foot throws, and that one is overthrown. Was looking to the far side of the field and could not connect with his intended receiver, Jenny. And the clock stops at 4:42 and a 38-6 score.
I think when Reinhardt sees that on film, he's going to see he had Riley Reinhardt running down the seam about 10, 12 yards with nobody around him because everybody was taking their eyes to number 2 running down the far sideline.
So second down 10, the ball sits at the 35-yard line. Jourdain in motion, but instead they'll give it to Jenny. That's Anthony Hunziker, on the carry. Hunziker, a freshman, will get his share of carries as the season progresses, without question.
Abadelli's been really good at defense tonight, too.
And at that fullback spot for Catasauqua, you see both a freshman in Hunziker and then a sophomore in Jacob Schreier. They're counting on those two in this offense, this Navy triple option, to be key contributors for them.
38-6. They throw this one across, and they'll get inside the 20. And still on his feet and breaking through. Great job there by Reinhardt, and they'll go in for the score. So 33-yard touchdown by Riley Reinhardt. And Catasauqua cuts into that lead.
And what a nice job, individual effort by Riley Reinhardt, breaking 2-3 tackles with the spin move and then finishing off into the end zone. And like I said, Catasauqua, you just need to build on something, and they build on the fact that they did stuff them. They did not give up that touchdown on the opening drive, and they're able to bring it back down, able to put together an offensive drive, and then get a touchdown off that reception.
So Jourdain had that big 50-yard kickoff return, but they couldn't get anything done. They get the ball back when Donovan Keys had that fumble recovery as he pulled it, stripped it right out. Adam Reinhardt, 33 yards to Riley Reinhardt. And now they'll try for the two-point conversion. Looking to throw, and that one is incomplete. So with 3:51 on the clock, it's 38-12 in favor of Northern Lehigh.
On that pass, just slightly behind the intended receiver and Schwab. Reinhardt will want that one back because he had him in the end zone where he would have had that two-point conversion. So we talked coming out, Al, about what Catasauqua can do and what they should be focusing on, and I think they did just that. Offensively, they came out, they had a great kick return, then ended up 2 defensive plays by Wanamaker, pushes them back. They turn the ball over on downs when Reinhardt runs it on 4th down. It looked like Northern Lehigh was taking control with their drive down the field. And then you see Keys rips the ball out, returns it 40, 50 yards, setting up the offense on a short field. And then it's Reinhardt connecting to Reinhardt for the touchdown.
Say that again?
I said it backwards, actually.
Yeah, I think you did.
Reinhardt connecting to Reinhardt.
Yes. And if I ask you to do it again, you'll probably get it wrong.
I probably will flip it around again.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it right either time. So at least you may be one step ahead of me. 3:51 on the clock. 38-12 is your score. And again, you said build, one play at a time. You always hear your coach say one game at a time, but that's what you got to do for Catasauqua. Coach right now McLaren is going for one play at a time and, seeing what he could do.
Exactly, and I think that's what they have to. I mean, if you're Catasauqua, you look at this half, all right, maybe the game, and I'm speaking way ahead of the game right now. It's not even nearly over. But if the game does come up in a loss, you're looking right now, okay, we're 6-0 in the second half. Mm-hmm. We're winning the second half. Okay, so let's take it one step shorter. Let's win the third quarter. Then let's win the fourth quarter. Let's build something on something. Just continue to give them positives to work towards.
Coach Dow, even though they're up, you can't be happy with that because in those important ball games down the stretch, those are the type of things that can't happen.
38-12, and a timeout on the field here for Joe Tout's team, and it comes with 3:50 on the clock.
And it looked like Northern Lehigh didn't have enough personnel on the field to run their offensive play. So Joe Tout elects to take the timeout to make sure he gets it on there and doesn't have to rush and have any kind of mistake happen. Because if you're Northern Lehigh, you cannot give Catasauqua any more momentum than what they're already building on their own.
So 3:50 on the clock, 38-12 is your score at this point, and obviously you're trying to battle yourself back, at the same time, and obviously it's a Thursday game, so next week you're going to start new games. We bring in the schedule and to get you an idea of what's ahead for these two teams. Obviously there's a golden opportunity to pop in for the Catasauqua Rough Riders, and you take a look at Northern Lehigh and the Bulldogs, and obviously the Bulldogs they'll be right back at it. They'll take on Bangor. Then they get Penn Argyl. And then Saucon Valley, Southern Lehigh, Salisbury, Palisades, and Northwestern Lehigh. And they'll finish things off with Palmerton, at there. Flag at the end of this play. And we'll look at Caddy's schedule a little bit later on as well.
And it looks like the referee is waving the flag off from this. He looked like he wanted to go with Catasauqua with a late hit out of bounds, but he did not. I mean, he came in and did contact him out of bounds, but did not do anything egregious to take him to the ground at all. So great job of the official just reevaluating that.
We'll take a look at the schedule after this play for the Catasauqua Rough Riders as the ball sits at the 43-yard line. And with that, official timeout. Take a look at the Catasauqua Rough Riders, kind of where they're at right now and, where they're going. Again, you get some time, moving forward, but they will leave here and they'll get the Saturday afternoon game against Penn Argyl. And then they'll take on Palisades. You look at the schedule for them, kind of home, away. You start mixing and matching. Sometimes, as a coach, do you like a couple home games in a row, or you want to go back and forth? What kind of rhythm you get in there?
I mean, typically I always like the away games because I think the bus ride there was an opportunity for us to put our guys' minds to get them set for the game. With a home game, they come to the locker room, they're out on the field, they're talking with people that are around. You come to an away game, you're isolated on the bus with your teammates. You're isolated in the locker room with your teammates. I always felt that was a great opportunity for us to bond as a team.
9:21, they take on Wilson, then Salisbury, and Palmerton, Notre Dame, Southern Lehigh, Northwestern, and finish things off with some game they play on Thanksgiving too. I know Easton and Peaburg, of course, does it, but this will be the 97th meeting between Catasauqua and Northampton on Thanksgiving Day.
And you look at the last half of that schedule for Catasauqua, and that's a very challenging schedule, in starting with Salisbury, Palmerton, Notre Dame, Southern Lehigh, and Northwestern.
They pitch this one back, and this is taken by far side. Repsher just doing a good job. You mentioned he could be the wide receiver, but he could be the running back, and there he's showing what he can do with the football, running it.
And how nice is that you get behind Frame at the one fullback spot, and then you have Wanamaker at the other fullback spot, able to just get to the edge, along with Moyer at the quarterback, opening up the hole and giving him a lot of space to run, but missed this on the play. There's a flag on the play over on the far side.
So we're at the 3:31 mark of quarter number 3. 38-12 is your score. And if you're just joining us here on our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine, this one started off interesting with a 2-point safety, but then things changed from there as Northern Lehigh extended their lead. Northwestern extending their lead as well in New Chipotle, 24-10. And this one's Abadelli. And Abadelli gets inside the 10 and gets knocked out. They may mark him right around the 10-yard line.
That's just a power sweep from Northern Lehigh. They have the fullback out in front, the quarterback out in front blocking for Abadelli, as well as the offensive line tight end. Tight end leading the way was Chase Macero, getting the edge for the offense, and Abadelli for the big gain. What I'd like to see here, Al, is and they're going to take Frame out of the game right now, I'd like to see Coach Tout give Frame another opportunity to kind of get himself back after that fumble, let him carry the ball, let him try to do something back where he had the mistake previously.
Moyer out of the gun from the 10-yard line, and he gives it to Wanamaker. Wanamaker found a little seam and goes in 10 yards. Dale Wanamaker increases the lead with the 10-yard touchdown.
Northern Lehigh is getting a lot of use out of this zone read play between Moyer and Wanamaker, and actually Moyer and any back that's in the backfield. He's riding that mesh deep into the line of scrimmage, which is holding those linebackers, not letting them get where they need to be, giving the linemen time to solidify their blocks and open up the hole for Wanamaker.
Look to add the extra point, and that is up, and that is good. 45-12 at the 3:14 mark.
And for Northern Lehigh, that's a nice answer to Catasauqua's turn of events there. So now you're looking at this as 7-6 second half ball game, but Northern Lehigh definitely opening up the gap in the score.
So now you're Catasauqua. You just go right back to the drawing board and see if you can. So Adam Reinhardt, 33 yards to Riley Reinhardt, made it 38-12. 2-point conversion failed. And then right back with a 10-yard touchdown by Dale Wanamaker makes it 45-12.
And so far for Catasauqua, with their kickoff return team, able to get their offense in some good field position, see if they are able to get something here as well.
Catasauqua's kickoff return has been good tonight. There's been far too many of them. They've been good at it. The serve will send another one on its way. Jourdain 4 and Reinhardt 1.
Yeah, we saw what Jourdain did earlier. And this one picked up by Jourdain. Jourdain gets driven down to the ground.
Very close to being a face mask there, but Northern Lehigh defender obviously had his hands down around the chest of Jourdain to bring down the tackle. So the Catasauqua offense did have some success last drive. So they need to come out here and they need to look at how can I build on that? How can I build one successful play after another?
Now, Coach McLaren, again, has been talking about his defensive lines, offensive line, and trying to get some space. And as you're in game 2, and then you have a long wait to game through with the holiday, and absolutely pop. Wow, there's a big stick.
It looked like it was Evan Zambo, number 11, at the cornerback, peeling off of his receiver as he was reading the quarterback's eyes, sees him go for Reinhardt, peels him off and just eyes him up, hits him just as the ball gets there to dislodge the ball.
Well, we've seen some big hits tonight. That was one of the bigger ones that we've seen. That was right square on.
Yeah, I think that's because they have the athletes. They have guys that can break tackles and come up with those big-time plays.
So 45-12, 3:04 on the clock. Second down and 10 from the 20-yard line. They'll go on the ground. Jourdain, and Jourdain again. Now all of a sudden, things are starting to change a little bit because now all of a sudden they're getting in there quicker. They're making the plays faster, and they're not being beat on the ball. Again, you're eyeing them up as well, knowing what's coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, this defense by Northern Lehigh is just sitting back waiting for these plays, and looks like they're kind of a step faster than the Catasauqua offense. That time it was Hunter Evans, number 80, a defensive back, coming up quickly, getting the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Usually you don't see your defensive backs getting a lot of tackles for losses, but that time he read it perfectly and was there very fast.
So we're under 2 minutes and 20 seconds in the third quarter, 45-12, and it's third down and 14. The first down marker is right around the 32-yard line. And the Rough Riders will call a timeout here. See what play they're going to call. So breaking the action, glad you could join us here for a D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. And it is Thursday night. Next week we have a huge matchup on a Saturday as we go out of District 11. And get North Schuylkill and Wyomissing. North Schuylkill, of course, our D11 team, but two teams, two heavyweights, really, when it comes across the state of Pennsylvania. That should be a great matchup next Saturday at 1:30 in Wyomissing.
Absolutely, and I think, when you look at those two teams just perennially always in the district playoffs, always, Wyomissing out of District 3, North Schuylkill out of District 11, those teams, North Schuylkill, Notre Dame usually meeting up there at some point, and then Wyomissing usually, getting through District 3, getting that matchup early on is going to be key for them, and especially for North Schuylkill. This will be a great test for them early in the season.
So we'll have North Schuylkill and Wyomissing on the 7th. Then we go back-to-back Thursday games, Salisbury at Saucon Valley and Panther Valley at Lehigh on the 19th. Then we go back to Saturdays, Stroudsburg and Allen, Deerhoff and Pocono Mountain West as we head up to PM West for the second time. Southern Lehigh at Penn Argyl on Saturday afternoon. Whitehall Liberty on a Friday night, and then Wilson Notre Dame to cap things off in the regular season. Toss far side. 3rd down and 14. And another big stick after the run by Elijah Solar. So Solar with the run, but boy, oh boy, they're coming and they're sticking hard.
And you know what, Al, I'm going to make the comment here. Always told our running backs, typically nothing good will ever happen for you when you leave your feet. So you see this time Solar tried to. Now, take Saquon Barkley out of this. I knew you were going to say that.
I was just making sure that you were
aware.
Take
Saquon Barkley out of this. No,
what are you reading me like the book? Why you know I was going to say that?
I've been around you long enough.
All right.
I saw the look coming. Typically, it's not going to end well for you. Keep your feet on the ground when you're running the ball.
4th down and 1. And they'll try to push this one forward. Caddy says they have the 1st down, and this is going to be.
I think it's going to come up about a yard short.
Yep. So good job defensively. And, your Catasauqua really, you're ending out the 3rd quarter. There's a minute 15 seconds left. You got to see if you can do something. You move the chains and, you keep the drive going. Otherwise, you give the ball up. Short field right here from the 30-yard line.
Absolutely. You know what? I credit Catasauqua. They're sticking their offense. It doesn't matter what's going on. We're going to try to make some things happen. And they're relying. They went behind the freshman. You couldn't quite see if it was the freshman fullback or if it was the sophomore fullback on that play. But they're relying with some youth to make plays for them.
1st and 10 for Northern Lehigh at the Catasauqua 30 with some second-teamers in the ball game.
So 45-12, the ball sits at the 30-yard line. And they'll pitch this one back. An opportunity for some other players to get some action, and this is what you ask for. And, you have a different quarterback in Tyler Schmoyer, Isaiah Ramos, now running the football. And this is the time, and you take a look at this run, that as a coaching staff, you say, all right, well, we're giving them opportunities. I go back to the Penn Argyle days, when they were blowing out teams, they're running through, and next thing you know, the game was done at the half. And these guys were getting 2 quarters worth every time. So it ended up being like 4 games worth of experience by the time it was all said and done.
Absolutely, and I think as a coach, you want to try to get that to happen. These are kids that are practicing all week long. They want to get out here on a Thursday, Friday night game, and they want to play. They want to show what they're capable of doing. They might not be quite there as a starter yet, but they know they're a capable backup.
Ramos with another solid carry. Gets down to just inside the 12-yard line. They'll mark this one right around the 11. And there's an injured Catasauqua player on the field.
And you look at Ramos, Al, he's a freshman. 6 foot, 170-pound freshman running back. I think we're going to see a lot of him in years to come here at Northern Lehigh.
You look at the Colonial League, and last year Notre Dame went 9-1. Of course, they lost to North Schuylkill in the district championship, finishing 10-2 under head coach Phil Stambaugh. 2017, Palisades won the championship, going 10-0 under Kevin Reynolds. 2016-15 and 14. Phil Sams won it in 2016. Some guy that I know pretty well that's standing right next to me is Matt Evancho. You had those championships, and and you got in the district playoffs as well. And your time at Saucon Valley as the head coach, you had some good football teams, and not only that, you had some good football players.
Yeah, they were fantastic families to be around. I think that was the big thing. The families bought into what we were trying to do as a team and as a program. And, credit Phil Sam. He put his own spin on that. He did his own thing and continued that success. He built his own success with his group. And Coach Trembler now taking over for Coach Sams. In time, I think he's going to have the same kind of success because I think it's the way the program was built. And before I even got there, but the way it was built and the way the community supports that team and that program, I think is fantastic.
So coming off the field was Donovan Keys. Keys had that, I believe that's Keys. He had that huge run earlier. And back to action here with 51 ticks on the clock here in quarter number 3.
Fullback for Northern Lehigh is 36, Lucas Farmer. He's ahead of Ramos the tailback.
Back on the ground they go from 11 yards, and Ramos goes in for the score. So an 11-yard touchdown by Isaiah Ramos. and that will put the mercy rule into play.
I'm going to put out one thing on the replay here, Al, that drives me nuts as a former coach, but what Isaiah Ramos does here, a little thing, he takes the handoff immediately as soon as he gets through the line of scrimmage, moves the ball to his outside. Too many running backs I see now carrying the ball in the inside hand when the defenders are coming at them, and they can't do anything. They can't stiff arm. They can't, do anything to elude that tackle. Isaiah Ramos there doesn't have to, but at least fundamentally puts the ball in his outside hand, outside arm, and he's able to do something if he has to. I'd like to see more coaches go back to teaching that fundamental, because you just don't see it enough these days. Sorry about my rant.
No, we're used to that, so that's okay. And 38 seconds left here, and things. What are we learning here tonight about Northern Lehigh? We saw their schedule earlier, and and we talked about it a little bit, but they now have a little break, a little longer break because they play on Thursday. Next Friday they get so the next couple games they get Bangor, Penn Argyl, and Saucon Valley. I mean, obviously they still have to play some really quality teams, but is it too early to see to say that this team could be one of those teams out there? Obviously, we know what Northwestern's capable of doing. They're winning tonight. Notre Dame, of course. But where do you see them right now? Is it too early to tell?
I think it's early, but I think next week is going to be a big test for when they go up and when they play up at Bangor. I think that's going to be a huge test for Northern Lehigh to see what they're made of and see where their identity lies. But then after that, they have Penn Argyl, they have Saucon Valley, Southern Lehigh, Salisbury, Palisades, but then they end with two heavyweights when they go up against Northwestern and they go up against Palmerton. Palmerton had a big rivalry game, and they have a very good team this year.
That one picked up right at the 30-yard line.
But really, Al, to answer your question there, I think, if they can stay healthy, if Northern Lehigh can stay healthy, if the defense continues to play the way they are, I think they can get into the district playoffs. They can make something happen late in the season, where they're back to where, that Northern Lehigh style football and what they always do. Back in the Jim Tack years, the Joe Tout years, that's one thing that we mentioned it earlier. Joe Tout, 14 years as the team's head coach. Jim Tack was like 14 years before that, if not more. They have had a lot of stability in this program and in this community with the football team.
Jourdain gets taken down on the play. First guy in there was Brandon Zellner. So 3 complete, 1 to go. 51-12 is your score. Back after this for the D11sports.com Game of the Week.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
We're back here 51-12 as we get ready for quarter number 4. 51-12, your score in favor of Northern Lehigh. Al DiCarlo alongside Matt Evancho. And a good job here by the Bulldogs to really move the ball around effectively and getting their running backs in the mix and move the ball effectively. Again, you get back to the offensive line and what they've done. You can pick your poison when it comes to the offensive line. Bryce Dye, who had 12 tackles last week, Brandon Zellner, J.D. Hunter, Carter Smith, Jason Check. Those guys are, the glue, really, that made things happen.
They have been, and you rarely ever get to credit the offensive line, and the Northern Lehigh offensive line, they really did their job tonight. They, just looking at the score and recap, we had 4, 5, 6 different people score. That doesn't happen without those guys up front blocking.
I agree with that 100%. Carrying the play by Riley Reinhardt. So Reinhardt to Reinhardt. And he is down the field right now. after being stuck on the play. So next week, again, Catasauqua was at Penn Argyl for a Saturday afternoon. Northern Lehigh is at Bangor on a Friday night. And next week we'll have North Schuylkill and Wyomissing on a Saturday afternoon. If you're watching our live stream on D11sports.com and you're following us on Twitter at D11sports and on YouTube, D-11 Sports, tell your friends. We're excited to be there, and get our student reporters ready as well. So Reinhardt looking to throw, and he does, and connects, and that's Jourdain. And right about the 48-yard line gets taken down.
And I think we'll go ahead and see them. Catasauqua go for it on 4th down as Jourdain just brought down short of the 1st down. Wouldn't be surprised if they see some sort of pass where Reinhardt's rolling out and just tucks it under his arm and just gets the 1st down himself.
Reinhardt goes back to the bench to make sure he's got the right play. Joins the huddle at 23 seconds on the play clock. 4th down and 2.
So Caddy went earlier on 4th down, and they came up about a yard short. They have nothing to lose here, trying to learn from their offense and see if they can move the football. As they snap it, Jourdain trying to make the cut, and he shows it across midfield, and we'll get the 1st down, and then comes up a little short. Tell you what, he's got some nice moves as he came across the near side.
He does just enough. It helps his receivers out. I think that's the biggest thing when you take a look at him running the ball. He'll take a jab step inside, get the defender to turn inside, then giving his offensive wide receiver room to get the leverage and get the block to free him up to the outside.
Wide right. Everybody else in close.
So inside 10, 51-12. Low snap, Reinhardt, and try to turn pace. He has a lot of running room on this side and get a good block in front. And Reinhardt will get the 1st down, move the chain still on his feet, pushing across, and finally taking him down at around the 27-yard line. So that's one thing as a coach you want to see. They're not giving up, and they're pushing forward because they're getting ready for next week, and they're getting, they just continue to, get those repetitions. And for a quarterback that's never played quarterback, you want as many reps as you can get.
Absolutely. And, Coach McLaren spoke about the brotherhood that they're trying to create and the culture they're trying to change at Catasauqua. And I think, as you stated, we're seeing that there where they're not giving up. They're not quitting. They're not, they're continuing to fight to the end no matter what the score is. I'm sure when Coach McLaren went into the locker room at halftime, he told them, we're not going to worry about the score. You just go out there and play one down at a time and make things happen.
Up the middle, Hunsaker tries to go wide now.
This one on the far side, not much there, and knocked out of bounds. Well, actually, they say inbound. Mercy wasn't in play anyway, so 8:45 on the clock. There's a stick there at the end of the play.
And you'll see on the end of that play, my pet peeve number 2, Al, as a former coach, is the lack of tackling that takes place nowadays. Everybody wants to come up and just lay a hit and expect someone to go down. Instead of coming up and wrapping somebody up, putting your arms around them and just holding on and bring them down to the ground. Two good things are happening here, Al. The Catasauqua offense getting some good reps, some game reps with their young offense, with the kids in a new position. But then on top of that, Northern Lehigh's younger players are getting good game time reps versus a first-team offense to see what they're capable of doing if for some reason they get called in the action either next week or down the road sometime. But as you stated earlier, this is going to give those players great opportunity to be game ready when the time comes that they get called upon.
So clock winding down, 7:25 and counting. On the ground they go. Jourdain again. Jourdain looked like he was going to go outside the whole way, and now does, and Gets down to about the 2.5-yard line.
Never got a chance to really go for it.
And that's one of those opportunities, as I stated to you earlier. He just needs to pick one spot and just go and commit to it. I think if he would have just gone and stuck to the outside, I think he gets to the end zone. If he wanted to take the plant, cut up field right away, he's got to go hard and commit to that completely.
On the ground they go. And that one gets stopped. So Solar had it.
It'd be nice to see Catasauqua be able to put this one in just to cap off this drive with this offense. I think you'll see potentially here on 3rd and short, maybe Reinhardt, the quarterback, getting an opportunity to pull the ball out on a rollout and get him to the edge and then let him get some space and try to get into the end zone.
So 3rd down and goal from the 1-yard line. Adam Reinhardt with Solar in the backfield. And they'll hand that one off and give it to Riley Reinhardt. And Reinhardt goes in for the touchdown from a yard out. Again, Matt, you and I have talked about this. You know, build some momentum. Build some momentum. That's what you want to do.
And I think they got to do that there on that drive. You know, they had some, the key guys in there. They need these game reps. You know, we keep talking about this. Catasauqua has 30 players on the roster if they're all healthy. You know, if they're not all healthy, and depending on what positions they play, you're not getting live reps in practice. Regardless, with the way coaches want to keep kids healthy late in the season, you're not really getting live reps anyway. So the fact that they're able to get live reps versus a team tonight and to put some things together, I think that's going to prove a lot later in the season for them.
Here's Reinhardt looking to throw, and now he's going to run for it, and now throws it. Wow. So that shows you a 2-point conversion catch by Schwab in the back of the end zone.
And I'm not quite sure if in that play, if Reinhardt's feet or body were beyond the line of scrimmage, but at this point, what an athletic play by that kid. You know, again, we said former wide receiver last year and able to come up and make something happen, gets the ball to Schwab for the 2-point conversion.
So 51-20 is your score with 5:40 on the clock. And Mercy Rule went in effect here in the 4th quarter. We talked about the black jerseys that they wore, coming out. Coach Tout said, they wore their regular jerseys to school today, but then after that, kind of surprised them in the pregame. They got in the locker room and they saw them there, and they used those black jerseys. And I think that gives you a little more, they like that, and he says, they like to be with the in thing and, something different. And, the back of the jerseys say beware, and, we'll see what happens with this Bulldogs team this year.
I agree, and I think, it's a team that people are going to have to be aware of. They've had a few down years previously to this. I think Coach Tout has a group of players that believe in themselves, believe in the coaches, and they're going to make some things happen positively this year.
Now picked up the far side. Morum, and still on his feet.
And this was always one thing I didn't like
on the carry.
In some of these games, Al, is the fact that, Northern Lehigh, you're up and your starters are out, and all of a sudden you have to return a kickoff. You put those starters back in there cold. Always risk something bad happening. So fortunate for Northern Lehigh, they come out of that kickoff healthy where nothing bad happened. I always worry about that when teams can't put backups back there to return balls.
And sometimes you can't because you don't have as many players.
Correct. I think that's an easy switch. Maybe you take Repsher and you take Abadelli out of there and you put maybe Ramos back there, put another skill kid back there to just return the kick.
So the ball sits at the 27-yard line. And they'll pitch this one back. So a couple chances there pushing forward was Lucas Farmer. Farmer, 5'8", 175-pound freshman.
And Lucas Farmer is typically a fullback. But since the running back wasn't on the field for that play, he decided he knew we needed somebody. He took a step back, sat in at running back, ran the play without a fullback, without a lead blocker.
And I hope you're enjoying our coverage of our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Tell your friends and follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and follow our D11 Sports reporters. We'll be all out and about. Obviously, next week, everything's starting as well. And here's Farmer again. Farmer busts to the outside and still on his feet. Finally gets taken down on the play. And a good job there by Barber to bring him down.
Now Catasauqua also getting some of their backups in some game plays here on defense. Still have some big guys up front, even though they're not the starters. They still have some size at the defensive line. It'd be nice to see the linebackers run free, try to get some big plays behind the line of scrimmage.
I want to thank Brian Geist, the athletic director here at Northern Lehigh, for his hospitality once again. Does a great job here with his Bulldog family. As I say that, Joe Tout will call a timeout here to reset this offense with 3:51 on the clock. So timeout with 3:51 on the clock and a 51-20 advantage. Again, Northern Lehigh will be at Bangor and Penn Argyl the next 2 weeks. So after 2 home games, they go 2 road games. So I think you'll establish yourself before you get into that Saucon Valley Southern Lehigh stretch.
Yeah, and again, I look at next week's game versus Bangor as the big test for them to see where they stack up. You know, still don't know what Bangor's made of. You know, they beat Catasauqua 34-6 last week. Still not quite sure where they're at. So be a good test for them next week coming into the game.
You know, football-wise, though, you know, looking at the schools and, you know, and different games, you know, Bangor has Notre Dame, you know, coming up. So you'll get a good test then tomorrow night. Yeah,
Bangor and Coach Raduzzi in his first year there will get a good idea of what they're made of. Hats off to Notre Dame and Coach Stanball. Family friend of mine, Colin Quintano, at quarterback as a sophomore. What a fantastic job he did last week, earning him Player of the Week honors.
Yeah, adequate performance by him.
Yeah, listen,
did a great
job. Just because you live in Northwestern's territory, you know, you were rooting for the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't root for anyone. I root for the Yankees and the Giants. 51-20. Here's your score as the clock winding down to 3:30 remaining. Again, at the end of the game, we'll present our D11sports.com player of the game. Ava Rosario is down the field, and she'll be talking to that player.
Dylan Smoyer brings in the play from Coach Joe Tout in his 14th season. Down and 3. Sullivan again, the running.
So the ball sits at the 22-yard line. Rough Riders trying to stop this one here. And the ball almost got stripped out. And a good job here by the Rough Riders in the change of possession with 2:50 and counting.
And for Catasauqua, you look there, you have the second team of Northern Lehigh versus the second team of Catasauqua. And they were able to get a stop. So positively looking in the future, you know, there's some things going in our way. There's some things going in our direction. So we get a chance to look at Catasauqua's offense one last time, potentially. Probably going to see backup quarterback in the game for them in Christian Fye. Number 11, 5'9", 150 freshman. And as we said, offensively and defensively, Catasauqua playing a lot of youth, a lot of younger players, so they have these players ready for the future. And once you start bringing in those other guys, you tend to have too many guys on the field as everyone wants that opportunity to get on the field. So Catasauqua breaks the huddle with 12 on that play. We'll get back out here with 11 on this play.
So on the ground they go, and we're down to about 2:10 and counting. Now we talked about Northern Lehigh. What do we get out of this Catasauqua team? And a young Catasauqua team. We mentioned it before, 8 new starters, one way, and, shuffling the deck and moving players around at the same time.
I think the big thing you take away from them is they played till the end. They did not quit. There was no quitting them at all. I think also the other thing you look at is the fact defensively I still think they played decent. I still think they made a lot of plays. Unfortunately, there were some times where they lost contain, or they lost their receiver. They blew coverage. So it's those little mistakes. And as we stated earlier, Coach McLaren said in year 2 his focus was on the fundamentals. So he's going to look at the film, and he's going to look at that with his coaching staff and come back with his players and show them, fundamentally, here's where we made mistakes. Here's where we had lapses. If we don't make those mistakes, it's a different ball game.
So down to the final minute and 6 seconds. At the high snap, and another flag. Again, if you're watching us here on a Thursday night football, we'll have a number of games on Thursday night, as we'll go back-to-back Salisbury and Saucon Valley on September 12th and Panther Valley and Lehigh on the 19th. But next week we'll be at Wyomissing for North Schuylkill Wyomissing on a Saturday afternoon at 1:30.
We have to look up on the internet, Al, some good restaurants or something down there by Wyomissing so you can buy me lunch.
I knew that was coming. 5 gets taken down, likely the last play. May run one more, but I don't think they have to. So time winding down. Northern Lehigh will improve to 2-0, and Catasauqua will fall to 0-2. So a horn sounds, 51-20 is your final score. And with that, we'll take a break in the action, and we'll come back with our D11sports.com player of the game right after this.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts. searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
Oh, back here, 51-20 is your final score. Aldi Carlo, Matt Evancho. Lights are on here in Northern Lehigh. After the victory, they put the lights on. 2-0 for them. Overall thoughts how they played tonight?
I thought offensively they played fantastic. They had able to spread the ball around to multiple offensive threats, and following that big offensive line that Coach Tout was highly touting, no pun intended. Very happy. He has to be very happy with the progress of his offense. He already knew his defense was going to play well. Then they came out and played well, but offensively, I think that was after 14 points last week. 51 this week, he's got to be happy.
You know, and you have the short week. Now you have the long week. You get the holiday week. You got to be excited as a coach and as a team knowing, hey, you're 2-0 going into next week.
Absolutely. And they're going to be tested next week. We talked about it a couple times with Coach Roduzzi and the Bangor squad that they're going to travel to next week. They'll find out what they're made of next week, and then they can prepare 3 games in. Now they can prepare for the next part of the season and then break it up into chunks as they get ready for the playoffs.
And for Mike McLaren, your thoughts of how his team played overall?
I think they, defensively, he said that's their strength, and I think they proved that tonight. They did have some mistakes here and there that cost them some big plays and touchdowns, but overall, I think they did have some big play. Our defense was their strength.
All right, with that, let's go down to the field and Ava Rosario with our D11sports.com player of the game.
Our D11sports.com player of the game is player 67, Bryce Dye, offensive lineman. Bryce, how does it feel going 2-0?
It feels pretty good. We just got to keep our grind going out there. We just got to keep moving the ball, going up and down the field, getting stops on defense. Just overall work hard in practice, get the momentum, build the momentum, take their momentum away.
Bryce, I know it was a short week of practice, 51-20, impressive win. Offensive line, you guys did a tremendous job. Talk about your line tonight.
Oh, our line, it was phenomenal tonight. I mean, we were getting on blocks, we were doing our assignments, we were doing our jobs. We just got to come out every game ready to play, get out there, do our jobs, do our assignments, and go out and get everything done.
Back to Al.
All right, Ava, great job down the field. Northern Lehigh reporter, and she's a senior, did a tremendous job today. Came out here today and thought she was just covering the game, and all of a sudden said, no, you're doing sidelines. She goes, oh, I didn't know I was doing all that. And she did a tremendous job today, part of our D11sports.com internship program, doing a great job. And, overall, you look at them, again, they win this one. They go to 2-0. Catasauqua falls to 0-2. Matt, your final thoughts?
you look at this, Bryce Dye, he deserves to be player of the game. We gave it to an offensive lineman because they're the ones who got the playmakers able to open up the holes for them and allow them to go. But in true lineman fashion, doing the interview with his helmet on.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anybody to see who he is. I'm a grunt up front. You don't need to worry about who I am. I'm going to do my job. And that's what linemen are.
Exactly.
But Coach Tout has to be proud of his team and what they've been able to do, especially turning around on that short week. Coach McLaren, he said they're going to continue to build on the fundamentals. They are young. I think they're gonna get better as the year goes on.
Well, that'll do it tonight from Slaton. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of the D11Sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. For my sidekick here, Matt Evancho, for Dave Micah, for Ava Rosario, for everyone here at D11Sports.com. We hope you enjoyed it. Back at it on a Saturday afternoon in about a week or so in Why I'm Missing for North Schuylkill and Why I'm Missing. I'm Al DeCarlo saying so long. Final score once again, Northern Lehigh wins this one. 51-20 is your final. Have a great night.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.